All right, good day, everyone that is watching right now. My name is Warren Deng, and I am from Group 3 for our video assignment for this diplomacy subject. Today, I am accompanied by Tono, Julio, Zahran, and also Hussein that will be helping me in talking about today's topic. Please introduce yourselves, guys, along with your name and the country that you are going to be talking about. Maybe starting from Tono.
Hello, my name is Tono. My full name is Duyan Tono Anitiasrun. I'm from batch 2020, and my country is Ethiopia.
Julio, go ahead.
Hi everyone, so my name is Julio Lelimboto. I'm from INR 2020 and my focus country is South Africa.
Zahran, go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, friends. My name is Farhan Muhammad Zahran. You can call me Zahran, Farhan, whatever it is. I choose Uganda because do you guys know memes of "Do you know the way?" But no, it's not that. And no, that's not the main reason. The main reason that I also read from the internet there's something's wrong with Uganda. Very like critical in the economy. Well, maybe later we'll explain why. And yeah, something like that. Okay.
All right, thank you, Ran. No, that is interesting, and we will talk about it later. And last but not least, Hussein.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Hussein. You can call me. My name is Hussein Al Hinduan. You can call me Hussein. I'm from INR 2020, and my focus country is Cameroon.
All right, all right. Okay, so now that everyone has introduced ourselves, today we'll just go right into the topics that we'll be talking about. We have 5 questions, guys, that we will be answering, all related to the countries of your choices, and they're all related to their political questions, economic questions, and also education questions. We'll start with the first one, and let's just organize an answering pattern. We'll start from Tono, then Julio, then Zahran, then Hussein, and then myself and the end. And oh, right, of course, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm so sorry. Hi, everyone. My name is Warne Emmanuel Deng. You guys can call me as Nay, and I will be talking about the country Nigeria. All right, so that's all settled. Let's start with the first question. The first question is, how is your country handling the COVID-19 vaccines? How is it distributing them? Are they having any trouble? Is it going great? And if you may add, how many % of the population has been vaccinated? We can start from Tona.
Okay, so in Ethiopia, the infections are rising with 89.860 confirmed cases as of October 19, 2020. While Ethiopia took several steps to keep COVID-19 infection low and mitigate its economic impact, it is still severely affected by the virus.
All right, I see. That's very interesting, actually. Jewel, how about your country? How's South Africa doing?
So South Africa, right? So the coronavirus pandemic, we know this pandemic has not only exposed the gap that exists in the north and south. So we want to talk about that more about South Africa here, and for South Africa itself. So the distribution is still, I mean, what I read and what I already watched in YouTube, actually for my references, is still a little bit doubtful. So ragu-ragu, yeah. So the government is still questioning actually. So how the effects of these vaccines, because of this doubt, the distribution of vaccine to the public was stopped. I think around February, March. So in February, I think, yeah, it's February 2021. So the Astra vaccine, so AstraZeneca, that was the vaccine that already distributed to the public, and the administration of the first and second doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine is given with long duration between one and another, right? So because of this long term they are also the factor causing these delays of distribution the vaccination the vaccines. But now what I already read, so the berita terbaru, yeah, the really new news, um, the South Africa already vaccine around so 8.6 million adults. It's already fully vaccinated, right? So with this, we can conclude that South Africa has distributed vaccines well and evenly right now since February. Yeah, that's the information that I have.
Saying, how's your country doing with the COVID-19 vaccines? How is it distributing?
Okay, thank you, Warane, for asking me. I have read some news. There says that Cameroon have prepared for handling COVID-19. Yeah. In Cameroon, there initially was a sense of optimism that somehow Africa, unlike other regions, would manage to avoid the catastrophic consequences of the pandemic. There was a little awareness that Cameroon was most likely just a matter of a few weeks behind. Today, Cameroon is the most affected country in the region and second in sub-Saharan Africa. Yeah, with a quickly rising rate of infections, the scarcity of the test kits obviously hides the real number of infection. Counting individual infection recoveries and fatalities does not provide the real picture. UNAIDS advocated for modeling of the pandemic in order to enable qualification of healthcare needs and and as the first COVID-19 cases were detected in Yaoundé, Cameroon, a small number of health sector officials gathered with the Minister of Health to discuss the planned epidemic containment and impact mitigation measures. I was one of the United Nations officials requested to be part of the group given experience in epidemic management. I underscored the need to build on existing system and make use of the community-driven efforts of the national AIDS response. I advocated for I think front loading, yeah, front loading investment in communication and community mobilization to prevent COVID-19 infection in Cameroon. I think like using a multi-sectional approach. I think like that, Pas.
So, but I want to add the vaccine distribution in Ethiopia. So around 2.2 million COVID-19 vaccines has been allocated in Ethiopia since 7 March 2021. The shipment contains 2.2 doses of AstraZeneca vaccines that it is the first of several shipments that will be delivered to Ethiopia. And today, as of 14 November 2021, the total of vaccine doses that have been administered is around 5 million.
All right, that's
So I
very
think
interesting coming from.
I think in Africa they use also AstraZeneca. Yeah, there are anything from Sinovac.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I think
Okay.
no. Apa sih,
Okay.
Nak?
Yeah, that is interesting. I did also find, well, at least from Nigeria. In Nigeria, there's also a lot of AstraZeneca vaccines going around. There's actually not that much from Sinovac. However, a lot of help is actually coming from China and the US towards not only Nigeria, but I saw in a graph that Ethiopia, South Africa, and Nigeria are actually the three countries that have the biggest density of the amount of vaccines being sent. And a lot of that help actually is coming from China as well. In Nigeria itself, there has been 8.9 million doses of vaccines given, and the amount of people that have been fully vaccinated has been 3.1, no, sorry, 3,150,000 people, which is 1.5% of the population. And the distribution is focused on like it's pretty much like Indonesia. Frontline workers like nurses and doctors, they're being the priorities. The elderly as well, and they actually have help from COVAX, that is a worldwide focus group working on the distribution of vaccines across the world. And there's actually also a lot of help from the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency. You have to apply a form to them if you want to actually have be vaccinated or something like that. And they actually, even though right now only 1.5% of the population is being vaccinated, they plan to achieve 50% of its population being vaccinated in the next few years, so that COVID-19 restrictions and everything will be done greatly. Ran, how about you? Have you gathered the answers you need?
Oh yes, that yeah, in Uganda, while most people had heard about the COVID-19 pandemic, vaccines, uh, uh, so so people were heard about the COVID-19 vaccines. The survey highlight significant remaining challenges in terms of building trust and boosting vaccine. Despite a high risk perception of the COVID-19 infection, uh, in just 25% of respondents in, I think it was the city of Uganda, maybe, that said will get vaccinated. So which means people of Mukono, I think, I guess, maybe. And then, while the numbers were higher in Kampala, which is 34%, and Wakiso is like more, 7% more than the 7% more. And then many sorry, many healthcare workers were ununiformed about the vaccine at the onset of the campaign, and so could not address consider as clients. And this was coupled with information in the community, and and also in social media. So the point is like, uh, some of the healthcare workers, well, they were working like, uh, to work for the COVID-19 vaccines, but ununiform. I still didn't get it. The ununiform. I think. Okay. So it was like maybe some illegal workers. So that's why they are ununiform. So that's why it was misinformation, or maybe, so that's why the result is, that the result of misinformation in the community, and also even social media. I think that's all I know.
Thank you, Ran, for the
Before
information on
we
Uganda.
continue to the question, I would like to add something interesting from the vaccine distribution in Ethiopia. So, like I said
Go ahead.
before, the 2.2 million COVID-19 vaccines that allocated in Ethiopia, this comes from COVAX facility that we know as the part of the World Health Organization. But the interesting that the United States also donates maybe around nearly 1 million Johnson and Johnson COVID-19 vaccine to Ethiopia. So the United States has worked closely with Ethiopia since the start of the pandemic, and the United States has contributed over $200 million to support the COVID-19 responses in Ethiopia. So this is interesting that we know.
That
Yes,
was
yes,
a
I
good
do agree. That was
information.
interesting.
It's interesting.
It is, yeah, it is, right? And like I think it's very easy to say that even though they're global South countries that we're talking about here right now, they still manage to have some kind of diplomatic relations with world superpowers like the United States and also China. They have these vaccine diplomacies. Nigeria also has had some help from India as well in terms of funds into helping buy more vaccines for the nation as well. So it's very interesting and very clean to see how even global South countries are maintaining strong diplomatic relations with superpower countries, even during at this crisis. Right. So we've gone through that first question. Seeing that how there are actually 5 questions, like I said in the beginning, but seeing that how some of them actually intertwine, and seeing that we don't really have that much time as well, I'll try to like merge these questions so that it'll become one and much more effectively answer. We'll go on to the second question. How badly, to say in a context, how bad is the COVID-19 situation of each of your countries? Like, what is the government still having some difficulties handling the COVID-19 situation in their countries, or are they doing it well? How is it doing, and how has your country been affected economically and politically? If you may also gather answers for that.
So maybe I start first. So
Sure, Joe, go ahead.
okay. So for South Africa, the pandemic problems, the COVID-19 problem has begun to be controlled. So there has been an easing of restrictions to the lowest level by the government in South Africa. So this happened because South Africa was able to emerge from the third wave. So as we know, they have this third wave of pandemic, which was dominated by a Delta variant virus from India. It's really big news. It was a really big news because this virus, Delta. So in addition, the government permitted to gather outside with the initial number being limited. So they have this limited, amount of people where when they go out, but it's extended. So they allowed more than that. So from 500 people to around 2,000 people that allowed now. So it's from here we can see how the government, they believe that the COVID case has improved and is under control. And then refer to the next, what is the affected the COVID-19 in the political, economic, and social field. Maybe this is also interesting to discuss. So these 3 things for me actually is very important to support performance and support people's welfare in a country, right? So South Africa has a lot to do in terms of politics. Yeah, so this pandemic affects more economically, socially in South Africa than politics actually. So as we all know that the whole world is experiencing, so not just what we discuss here, but all world, so around the world, they experiencing a fairly strong shock in this economic field. One of the countries, the countries in Africa also. So the government there is planning to pay more attention to the economic problems that occurred there. And they were able to survive again from the third wave that I already mentioned before. And economic condition that forced the government to resist activities in communities in South Africa. So this pandemic is big enough to affect these 3 things. I believe that not only in South Africa but also around the world. Tono?
Right, Tom, go ahead.
If I would like to answer it, so there's a problem according to the distribution of the vaccines in Ethiopia. So from the information that I got, the Ethiopia targeted to the vaccinate is 20% that eligible for the population in the end of the 2021. But it becomes more messy, I think. The situation is not supported. The distribution is because there are many conflicts and regional states in Ethiopia that happen during the COVID-19. Like maybe war, the population's war that happens in Tigray, and then there are peoples in Ethiopia that destroys the health system infrastructure. And then the health service is diverts the attention of the political leadership. So maybe if we like to know that the COVID-19 is also give an impact to the Ethiopia in the economy. So the COVID-19 pandemic has substantially affected from operations. Then it's more around 42% of registered business in Addis Ababa, the central city in Ethiopia, has completely case operations, and 37% reported no revenues in March or April. So these firms that located in the Addis Ababa has significant fall in demand and resulting in exceptionally low revenues. So even the expectation for recovery remains up, with only 2% of firms expecting to immediately hire new workers, but the situation is not supported the workers to be added in the firms. It's because that there are many conflicts that happen, even though that it is in Addis Ababa, but people in Addis Ababa prefer to destroy health system infrastructure. It's because that they are maybe disagree with the regulations that government given to the people in Ethiopia.
Before moving on to Zahran and Hussein, if I may, I'd like to add Nigeria's state. For Nigeria itself, the COVID-19 condition in Nigeria, it's still very, very dangerous, seeing how their country is almost kind of similar to how Indonesia's country is right now. A lot of people are going out, and even though they tried to cover up by closing down everything and restricting everything, it was almost in a sense too late. And so a lot of populations already been infected, and it's still very dangerous to say the condition of Nigeria itself, because especially that the government is trying to open up the economy again. So it's basically almost the same as Indonesia, where Indonesia's president's dilemma was to either save the economy or save the health of its nation's people. It has that same dilemma, and so this causes the country to actually have a rather downfall in the economic side, where their economic growth per year has actually shrank by 1.8%, and they expect that it won't be able to grow for a while, since the condition of Nigeria right now is still very bad, and with vaccines slowly growing, slowly but steadily, it would take a while for them to actually get back up on their feet. In the political and social field, Nigeria's people have this sort of distrust towards the government, since they haven't been able to actually take care of their nation too well. They actually haven't been able to answer to their people well and actually take care of the vaccinations that very well, compared to other countries, of course. So there it creates this distrust towards the government, and we can expect probably not really that active like political participation and all. So yes, in Nigeria it is pretty bad, but they are hanging in there. How about from Hussein? How's your country doing?
Okay, Nate, thank you. I think well, Cameroon was struggling to control the pandemic. Opposition initiatives suffered from various fortunes. For helping undertaken to distribute masks and hydroalcoholic gels and to the population, six members of the Solidarity Operation Survey Cameroon, launched by the opposition leader Maukri Kamto, were interested after 5 days in prison. The six detainees accused of gang rebellion were finally released following multiple pressures. The arrest and detention of these people caused a wave, I think, like uproar in the country and beyond. For Laria Alegonzi, senior human HRW, for Central Africa, the arrest highlighted the government desire to suppress any efforts by the opposition, including political division as the time when national cooperation is more necessary than ever. And Cameroon is now the COVID-19 present in Western and Central Africa. The first cases were detected at the airport of the capital. Wilson recorded in Douala, in Cameroon, the largest city of the country. Despite early measures taken by the government to isolate initial case testing and contact tracing, community transmission has taken hold. Limited access to testing services make it difficult to know the extent of transmission. The Cameroon response has faced significant consistent, not least the capacity to scale up testing and expand contract tracing and the provision of intensive care, but as well as adequate personal protective. I think equipment for medical staff, the rapid implementation of community education programs, embracing hands hygiene and social distancing is ongoing challenge, especially in poor, often overcrowded and urban areas in Cameroon. Thank you, Nay.
All right, thanks, Sain. Farhan, Zaran, I'm really curious about the economic crisis you mentioned earlier. Can you talk about that before we close up?
So in Uganda, it was actually like really bad if I'm not wrong. And so but in my understanding, I was really understand about how the education in Uganda, the education the education situation. So my that I have read the article, it was really bad. So in Uganda, all school are stopped since the COVID-19 pandemic were came in Uganda. So it was it was like almost 2 years that the all school in Uganda were closed. So many like youth generation, like maybe teenage, even children, they work instead of school study, and they were work for have they work for getting money or cash for his for their for survive themselves. And meanwhile in Uganda, well, it absolutely have a very bad situation about the economy. So they have to hard because they it's also like the virtual class. It was very rare uh, I think they're currently really bad, and I feel so sad about that. So I think that's all I know.
Right. Thank you, Zahan, for that. I guess we can all agree how COVID-19 has affected each of our countries, especially since that we're global South countries. They're heavily affected all in social, political, and economic fields. And the issue, like how the education system is right now in Uganda, like Zahan said, it's really bad for development in the future because imagine having education systems shut down for years and most of them not having equal access to technology. It just decreases the amount of people that will actually graduate from school in the next few years. And that is an entire generation less educated. We can only imagine the amount of damage that that will bring. It really is sad to see how much this how much all of our countries have actually suffered from this. And hopefully in the years to come they'll actually get better. All right. Sadly, everyone who's watching, that is all the time we have for today. We hope that you've enjoyed this little discussion of ours of global South countries within within Africa and how they've been actually handling and going through the COVID-19 pandemic. I guess the one point that we can actually take is all of our countries have had some sort of vaccine diplomacy with other major countries or even with each other to actually strengthen ties to be together in this time of crisis, and which is really great. And it really shows how international cooperation is very helpful, even in this time of crisis. We actually also saw Tono exiting for a while there. It was because of Tono's internet connection, which is completely fine. These things happen. This is online life, guys. It's completely fine. to everyone who's watching, we thank you so much for staying and listening. We will be coming back again next week with a different topic. We hope that you guys will also watch that. If there were any mistakes or any kind of miscalculations or wrong data that has been mentioned, we apologize. We will work harder to actually make our next presentation or discussion even better next week. If you guys have any questions, don't forget to just show them in the comments. Ask anything about what you guys want to ask regarding our topic today. We will try our best to answer through the comments, of course, as well, or maybe through next week's video. So guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and comment. That is all from me. The others, would you like to say goodbye or any last words?
Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you guys for listening us.
See you next week, guys.
Okay. Thanks for the information,
Alright.
hermano. Okay.
Bye.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you
Adios.
everyone for watching. We hope to see you next week. Goodbye.
Gracias.
Goodbye.